We're on black. I don't think I need to go to the bathroom right away. I'll do it later. A 6-mana 6/2 with flash. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent and target creature and opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Expensive. I mean, this is what? I guess this is 6 mana on your opponent's turn. Play this, kill one of their creatures with the -2/-2, and then block another creature and destroy it because it's a 6 power and just fucking smashes anything. It's okay. I'm not a big fan of things like this, but it's just so like the 6 power is great, but it's just gonna die to anything. So like it doesn't really matter. Binding Negotiation. A 2-mana sorcery. Reveal their hand. Choose. Okay. You may choose another card from it. If you do, they discard it. Otherwise, you may put a face-up exiled card they own into their graveyard. Do you plot face-up? Wait, do you plot face-up? Give me a second. Does plotting... Do you cast to a plotted card... A plotted card's face up? No, right? Surely not. So then, put a face-up exiled card they own into their graveyard. I'm going to give this a meh. These cards are always very eh. Like, sometimes they hit exactly the card you need and your opponent is super sad and you win. Sometimes they do nothing, so eh. Black Snag Buzzard. 3 mana for a 2/1 flyer. When it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it if a creature died this turn and you can plot it. It's flying. So you probably take it. I mean, it's a flying 2/1, so it's not exactly big, but if a creature died, it's a 3/2, and that can start chunking your opponent. And you can always plot it and save it for later, so that you can swing with a bunch of stuff, and then when it dies, you can... Yeah, this isn't bad. You maybe play one of these. 1 or 2. Blood Hustler. Okay. 2 mana for a 1/1. Whenever you commit a crime, put a +1/+1 counter on blood. Only once each turn, sure. And it triggers itself. This is a good card. I mean, yeah, no, this is a good card. It's a 2 mana 1/1, which is a bit shit on the stats, but it's not that shit on the stats. And then you can trigger its crime thing pretty easily because you're black, so you probably have like removal and targeting your opponent to remove cards from their hands or whatever. And if you get to 4 mana and you run out of ways of triggering it, you can just tap 4 and trigger it, because then you target an opponent and they lose 1 life and you gain 1 life and then she gets bigger. So yeah, I like this card. This card's good. Boneyard Desecrator. 4 mana for a 3/4 with Menace. Ooh. Sacrifice another creature. Put a +1/+1 counter on Desecrator. If an outlaw was sacrificed this way, create a treasure token. Cost 2 mana to do the sacrificing. This gets bigger. And you can get 1 mana back for like a treasure token, so you can cast bigger stuff later. And it's got Menace. Okay. I don't think you're like mind blown over having this card, but I think it's alright. Caustic Bronco. A 2-mana 2/2, sure. By the way, that looks terrifying to ride. Whenever Caustic Bronco attacks, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. You lose life equal to that card's mana value if it isn't saddled. Otherwise, each opponent loses that much life. Saddle 3. This is better than the frog. This is better than the frog. This is definitely better than the frog. Yeah, I like this card. So this is a 2-mana 2/2 that has a similar effect to what Baby Sorin had. The 4-mana Sorin. That was his +1 was reveal the top card of your library. You take life equal to its mana cost. You're happy doing that. Because it's an extra card. Let me tell you. If you're getting extra cards, your life is all the way down to 1 HP. Your life is less valuable than magic cards. And if you could start saddling this thing and making your opponents pay their life for your cards, you are really fucking happy. This card is good. This card, I like this card. This card is very good. Consuming Ashes, 4 mana, instant speed, exile something. And then surveil if it's little. Very good. Yep. Looks like white and black are going to have some decent removal options, which means that creatures are probably going to be completely useless. But hey, it's good. Corrupted Conviction. It's well, a reprint or renaming of a card we've seen a million times. 1 mana, instant speed, sack a creature, draw 2 cards. This card's good. If your opponent tries to do anything to your stuff, you just, boop, thank you, 2 cards. Desert's Dew. 2 mana, target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, and it gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each desert you control. It's removal. I don't know how many deserts there are, but if you have a bunch of deserts, it's already good removal, so sure. Desperate Bloodseeker. A 2 mana, 2/2 with lifelink, and when it enters the battlefield, target player mills 2 cards. It's fine. Yeah, 2/2 with lifelink, I'd take that, and then the mill thing is fine. Fake Your Own Death. 2 mana for an instant speed until end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gain. Oh, whenever it dies, it comes back. And you create a treasure token. Wow, this is really good. Yeah, this is very good. Very good. Yeah, I imagine I'm going to get fucked over by this card repeatedly, and it's going to make me annoyed. But it is a very good card, so. Forsaken Miner. A 1 mana 2/2 that can't block. And whenever you commit a crime, it comes back. This is a good card. This is probably good enough to make some sort of black aggro thing work. It's literally a 1 mana 2/2 that just keeps attacking, and if you ever kill it, it just waits until you kill something of your opponents and just comes back. This is really good. Maybe not in limited. No, yeah, in limited, this is still really good. It's a 1 mana 2/2 that just starts smashing. Yeah, this is good. Gisa, the Hellraiser. You're 5. Aren't you Geralt's sister? What's he doing at 3? Oh my god, you're so much better as well. 5 mana, 4/4 with Ward 2 and pay 2 life. Get fucked. Skeletons and zombies you control get +1/+1 and I am making a zombie deck with those two. This is happening. You control get +1/+1 and have menace. Whenever you commit a crime, create 2 tapped 2/2 blue and black zombie rogue creature tokens only once each turn. This is good. These are good cards. Very good cards. This is a game-winning card. This is just game-winning. If your opponent doesn't immediately deal with this, you probably just win. In black especially. Because you're going to be committing crimes like it's going out of style. Destroying stuff, exiling things, looking at the hand and doing whatever. Anything you can get your hands on that commits a crime, you're going to be using it with this card to make 3/3s with menace. Like, they're tapped, so you can't do it first turn. But imagine you just go blow up your creature, 2/3/3s with menace. Blow up your creature and 2/3/3s with menace, swing for 6. Blow up your creature and 2/3/3s with menace, swing for 12. Blow up your creature and 2/3/3s with menace, swing for 18. Like, this just gets out of hand. This card is incredible. And I'm gonna have to make a zombie deck around her, I'm sure. I'm excited, actually. Maybe I'll just... we'll have to see, but this could be good fun. She's so much better than her brother, by the way. Holy shit. Hollow Marauder, okay, I was going to say a 7 mana 4/2. Yeah, I'm alright, thanks. A 7 mana 4/2 that costs 1 less for each creature card in your graveyard. So you're probably playing this for like 1 eventually. It's got flying, so you're playing it. And whenever it enters the battlefield, any number of target opponents each discard a card. For each of those opponents who didn't discard a card with mana value 4 or greater, draw a card. Yeah, this is good. I like this card. Like, you're not... it's not costing 7. Not in limited. You're just going to be... people are going to be killing creatures and... yeah, you're just... this is not... this is a good card. It probably costs 3 or 4. If you're doing a lot more, like, interaction stuff, if you're doing a lot more, like, graveyard shenanigan-y things and milling and stuff, this probably costs, like, 1 or 2. I like this card. Insatiable Avarice. Right? For 3 mana, search your library for a card, then shuffle and put it on top. And then for another 3, but this time it's all black, target player draws 3 cards and loses 3 life. This is probably good. This is probably very good. Well, in limited, yeah. Yeah, in limited is probably good as well. Sorcery speed? Yeah, it's still probably good. It's pay 3, draw 3, lose 3, which we're fine with. And search your library for exactly the card you want and put it on top of your library. Also very good. Unless your opponent has mill, weirdly. So, yeah, this is probably good. Karavek the Punisher. It's a 3 mana 3/3. Whenever you commit a crime, which you're going to be doing every time you sneeze in black, exile up to 1 target black card from your graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy. If you do, you lose 2 life. Yeah, this card's gross. Again, this is... black and casting crimes is just gonna... it's just gonna work. Like, I feel like maybe they've limited the amount of targeting that black can do in the set. But, I mean... this... what's her name? Fucking Geisha. Yeah, if you're committing crimes, your opponent's getting sad. This card is really good as well. Black's got some good cards. Lively Dirge. Okay. 2 mana, well, 3 mana, search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle. Okay. 4 mana, return up to 2 creature cards with total mana value 4 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Yeah, it's probably pretty good. They go to the battlefield, not to your hand. So this is probably very good. I like these zombies. I'm going to have to make a zombie deck. But yeah, this is probably very good. Mourner's Surprise. 2 mana, return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, create one of those mercenary things. It's fine. Again, if you've got like Geisha or whatever, Geisha, this one, you probably just fill your deck with everything that returns creatures, right? Because you just want her permanently. So, sure, this is another one. Neutralize the Guards. 3 mana, creature's target opponent controls gets -1/-1, surveil. It's probably not going to kill anything. So, one of the weakest board wipes in history. I don't think you're playing this. Maybe you are, but I don't think you are. Nezumi Linebreaker. A 1/1 that when it dies creates a 1/1 for 1. Yep, it's good. You play it. There's not much to say. It's a 1/1 that makes a 1/1. Black loves that kind of shit. So, yeah, we're definitely playing that. Overzealous Muscle. A 5-mana, 5/4, whenever you commit a crime during your turn... Okay, you have to commit it during your turn. It gains Indestructible. Yeah, this is probably good. Like I said, you're going to be committing crimes like it's going out of style in Black. Whether it's in Limited or... I mean, maybe in Limited not quite so much, but in Standard, you're going to be vomiting out crimes. You're going to be performing... Like, turn 1, you're going to start committing crimes. Like... again, this is more of a limited review, so this is probably still good, because there's probably still plenty of ways to commit crimes. We haven't seen a 2-mana instant speed Black removal yet, though. Unless we see one of those, maybe not so good. Pitiless Carnage. 4 mana, sacrifice any number of permanents you control, then draw that many cards. With plot. I don't think I like this card in Limited, but maybe if you've got too many lands, you could just chew through lands for it, because it's permanent, so lands count. I don't know. Maybe. I don't think I'd run this card, but maybe it's good and I'm just stupid. Rakish Crew. 3 mana, it makes a 1/1 dude, and whenever an outlaw dies, each opponent loses. This is probably good. Like, it's one of those things, whenever you have a thing that vamps your opponent, whenever a creature dies, Black just goes over the moon, because they can just sack everything to make everything go crazy. So this is probably good. How good is it in Limited? Depends how many mercenaries how many outlaws you can get. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess. Probably pretty good. Probably okay. This is probably playable just to have. Rattleback Apothecary. A 3 mana 3/2 with Death Touch. Whenever you commit a crime, target creature control against your choice of menace or lifelink. This is a good card. It's got Death Touch. It's a 3 mana, 3/2 with Death Touch. It's a good card. It blocks anything, kills it, attacks people. People aren't going to want to block. When you commit a crime, you can give it self lifelink and just start swinging. Your opponent's going to be sad because they need to block it at that point because it's got lifelink, but they don't want to because it'll kill whatever blocks it. So I think this is a good card. I like this card. Raven of Fell Omens. 2 mana for a 1/2 flyer. Whenever you commit a crime, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Yeah, you probably play this. Probably play a couple of these. Like I said, you're probably committing a crime all the fucking time. So, yeah. Probably a couple of these. These are very good. I mean, they're flyers, so you're happy to have them. And they can just peck away at your opponent and then just start draining when they can't peck anymore. It's good. Rictus Robber. Sure. 4 mana, 4/3. When it enters the battlefield, if a creature died this turn, create a zombie and you can plot. I mean, it's a 4 mana 6/5 across 2 bodies, technically, if a creature died this turn. I'd say this is pretty good. Especially because you probably can sack things and get this thing going, and you can plot it, so you can probably do a whole bunch of stuff all in one turn. And again, if you've got Geralt or his sister, you can do gross things with that. Yeah, this is probably good. Rooftop Assassin. A 4 mana flash flying lifelink. For 2/2. A 4 mana 2/2 isn't great, but it does have flying and lifelink and flash, so you play it in your opponent's turn. Destroy target creature and opponent controls it. These sort of cards are generally okay. They're not, you know, insane. But this one is probably the best of the lot because it's got flying lifelink and well, they all have flash, but because it's got flying and lifelink, you probably play at one of these maybe. Rush of Dread. Right. 3 mana, target opponent sacrifice half the creature they control rounded up. 5 mana, target opponent discards half the cards in their hand rounded down. 5 mana, target opponent loses half their life rounded up. Oh, it's rounded up, sorry, all of them are rounded up. This is okay. Yeah, this is pretty good. If your opponent has a bunch of creatures, you could just half them. I mean, they're going to sack all the shitty ones, but maybe that's enough. Discard half the cards in their hand. If you're playing up against control deck, you can just get rid of all of their stored up cards. Although most control decks, I'm assuming, are going to be plotting in this. So it probably doesn't do anything. And lose half their life rounded up. Sure, maybe that's how you plan on killing them. Yeah, it's okay. Servant of the Stinger. A 2 mana 1/3 with Death Touch that when it deals combat damage to a player, if you've committed a crime, you may sacrifice it. If you do, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and shuffle. You probably just play this as a 2 mana 1/3 with Death Touch that blocks anything. The rest of it is nice. Sorry. The rest of it is nice, but it's not necessary. So yeah, you probably just play this as a 2 mana Death Touch 1/3. This is fine. I'm not excited about it, but sure. Shoot the Seraph. 2 mana destroy. There it is. There's our 2 mana destroy a creature. Waiting for it. Okay. So non-outlaw though. So if somebody's everyone else is fair game. I like that. Okay, so if someone else is playing Outlaws or there's a really good Outlaw thing, I'm going to have to stop for a second, chat. I really need to go to the bathroom again. I will be right back. Oh, sorry about that, chat. I am back. Right. What else do I think about this card? It is uncommon. And that's about it. Yeah. Instant speed, 2 mana, removal. We all know it exists. That's just going to happen. The fact that it's uncommon means that it's not going to be, you know, every other creature you own gets blown up by this, but cheap way to commit crimes. Like, this is the one we were looking for. We just had to wait for it. Skullduggery. 2 mana instant. Until end of turn, target creature you control gets +1/+1, and target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1. Again, cheap ways to trigger crimes, and a decent combat trick because you probably win the fight with this. Probably an okay card. Again, well, I think the fact that it just triggers crimes for 1 is pretty good. Tiny Bones joins up. 1 mana for a legendary enchantment. When Tiny Bones joins up, enters the battlefield, any number of target players each discard a card. Okay. Whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, any number of target players each mills a card and loses a life. This isn't very good. This just isn't. I mean, it's 1 mana, so maybe, but how many legendary creatures are you going to have? Like 1 or 2 maybe in your deck? This isn't very good. So it's 1 mana, make someone discard a card. Sure. I don't know how much people are going to care about that. But I think in Limited, I don't think this card is particularly good. And here's Tiny Bones himself. A 1 mana 1/1 with Death Touch, and when it deals combat damage for a player, you may cast target non-land permanent from that player's graveyard, and mana at any time can be spent to cast that spell. Good card. Is it crazy good? You play this on turn 1, on turn 2 it swings, your opponent probably doesn't have anything in their graveyard, and even if they do, you still have to spend your mana for it. I think this can be good, but I think it needs a little bit of help. The issue is you kind of, like, it trades with anything it attacks, that blocks it, which is great. But early on, there's not going to be anything in your opponent's graveyard, and later on, it's probably getting blocked, because anything that blocks it kills it. I still think it's a good card. I just don't know how good it is. I mean, if I get it in my limited pool, I'm going to play it. But I don't know how good it actually is going to turn out to be, because, again, you need some help with it. Like, you need to be putting stuff in your opponent's graveyard, and then it's cast. So, and it's non-land as well, so you can't, like, steal their lands or anything. You have to specifically get them to discard or have a card in their graveyard that is not, that they put there. That's, yeah, like a non-land that they put there. And then they have to let this through, or you have to kill whatever's in the way. It's a lot of work, and even then, you still have to spend the mana to cast whatever it is. Treasure Dredger. 2 mana for a 2/2, and you can pay 1 tap, pay 1 life, create a treasure token. I don't think we've seen anything that cares about treasure yet, so... Sure? I don't know. I don't know how much we would care about this, because I don't think we've seen anything that really cares about treasure. I mean... no, Sean, I'm in the middle of a stream. Yeah, I don't think I care about this. Maybe it's good. Thanks. Maybe it's... I mean, pay 1 life for an extra mana you can use later is okay, I guess. It's just a bit slow. I don't know. If there's something that likes treasures, this could be great, but we haven't seen anything that cares about treasures yet, so I don't know. Unfortunate Accident. For 4 mana, instant speed, destroy target creature, and for 2 mana, create a mercenary. Sure. It's expensive. 4 mana, destroy a creature? But I guess if you don't have a creature to destroy, it's a dude as well. I think these multi-ability cards are okay. They give you some flexibility, which I like. So I'd probably run this just because it's removal that's flexible. But I think 4 mana is a bit pricey for instant speed removal, if I'm honest. Unscrupulous Contractor. 3 mana for a 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. When you do, target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. And you can plot it. This is probably good. Like, you're black. You're quite happy vomiting, killing your own stuff and vomiting out, tokeny garbage. This is probably fine. It's probably good, in fact. Yeah. Yeah, this is probably good. I like this card. It's just 3 mana. It's 3 mana a guy that draws 2, lose, with draw 2, lose 2 staple to him, which is great. Vadmir, New Blood. So it's a 2 mana 2/2. Whenever you commit a crime, which, like I said, in black you'll be doing accidentally. You'll be stepping over all the crimes you've accidentally committed. Tripping on them down the stairs. Whenever you commit a crime, put a +1/+1 counter on Vadmir, New Blood, only once each turn. Sure. As long as Vadmir has 4 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has Menace and Lifelink. This is a good card. This is a good card. He grows. And when he gets real big, he heals you. Like, that's the main thing. If you're not blocking with this guy because you want him to grow, your opponent's probably getting some damage through. But when he gets big enough that he has lifelink, you just start smashing your opponent back and healing all the damage they dealt to you. This card is very good. Black has got some very good cards in it. Vault Plunderer, a 3 mana 3/1 that when it enters the battlefield, target player draws. Yeah, this is fine. It's a good card. Replace itself. We like this. And again, the only life that matters is the last one. So we like this card. And we're on to red. I think this is the final. I think this is the final color, and then we'll be swapping over onto my second screen of cards. So black. I mean, it's got some very good cards. Again, I'm not sure about Tiny Bones, but like Vadmir I like. Shoot the Sheriff is just more 2 mana removal. I mean, I like a lot of these cards. Kavrik is insane. Gisa is... I'm building a deck around this woman, so better believe I like her. Yeah, there's a lot of cool black cards in this set. I think at the moment... white with its whole flash flying thing is probably very good because you just fly over and murder everybody. But I think black is probably going to be the most fun to play because you're just going to be committing crimes all the time. Planning out when to commit crimes against your opponent. So let's see what red's got to offer, shall we? Maybe, I imagine more crimes. Right. Brimstone Roundup. 2 mana for an enchantment.